Welcome to the Pink Lady Posse podcast, Women Who Refuse to Disappear. You are either creating your life or living one you inherited. Friction management. It matters because breakthrough is your way out of drift. See the drag? Return to say. Let's go. Hi, everybody. I am Sandy Parker Martinez with the Pink Lady Posse podcast, a podcast for women who refuse to disappear. And I am with someone I respect, love, look up to, and follow around, Miss Denorah Edwards. She has a company called Grateful Home, mostly about, I'll let her tell you. And then she has a new heart community. I'm going to start over. It's not heart? What is heart connection?
Heart connection.
I'm going to start over. Hi, everybody. I'm Sandy Parker Martinez with the Pink Lady Posse podcast, a podcast for women who refuse to disappear. And I'm with Denorah Edwards today. Hello, Denorah.
Hello.
Glad to have you. She has Grateful Home, which I love, and a Heart Connections community that she's starting and revving up. So I wanted to have her here because today the topic is declare your independence.
Yes.
Freedom.
Yes, yes.
Welcome. Glad to have you.
Well, thank you. I'm always glad to be in the presence of Sandy Parker Martinez. We always have fun. And you know what? We actually, in the midst of having fun, learn something and nourish ourselves along the way. I just love that, right? That is so cool.
And you know what? So this podcast is for you, the listener. Denorah and I know each other. What we're doing here is helping women see something new, see something fresh, hear something challenging. And today we're going to challenge you to declare your independence about something. So let's start this way, Denorah. When you think about freedom, this is July 2nd, and here comes July the 4th. When you think about freedom, what comes up in your mind when you think about freedom?
When I think about freedom, what comes to mind first is that freedom, freedom is an inside job. It is something that is curated. It is something that we develop. It's a skill that we develop. Freedom from whatever it is, any outside influences that affect our world. I think that having that freedom to be able to, I don't want to say gatekeep, but to be able to choose how you're going to respond to things, choose what you're going to let inside your body, having the freedom to react or respond the way that you want to without being driven, without your will to something. Because, not being free is being outside of your will, in my view.
Yeah.
And the freedom is when you're inside, you have your own individual will and your actions are aligned with that.
So in friction management, that's what we call your say. Like
right.
when my mother said, because I said so, we didn't really question, was it logical? Was it right? It was firm. She had a say. And as women, we do have a say. But if we give it away, that becomes sort of foggy in there. And I will say, I think some people think it's kind of Pollyannish to say, oh, freedom is an inside job. But you're a master in self-care, so you know that to be true.
Right. And the more that we are loving and caring for ourselves, not just getting pedicures and manicures and all of that. This is a very real way where we love and care for ourselves. And in doing that when these situations come up, we advocate for ourselves. We are able to have the strength to stand up for what we truly believe. We're able to recognize a situation for what it is and not have blinders on that aligns with what everybody says. We're free to believe what we believe. That to me is so powerful. And and one of the reasons why I created the Heart Connection community is for women who are wanting to stand, in their power, to have a space where they can practice that and where they can learn what that means to them. And because the more we do that, the more free we all are, and the more free we are to get what we want to get,
Now,
right?
you have a background in corporate, and, and you would say that wasn't your birthplace of freedom.
No, actually, it was my birthplace place of freedom.
Tell me.
It was, began my corporate working life when I was 16. And through all of those jobs, I was always a high performer. I was always getting promoted. But what I had to deal with in order for that to be my experience in the corporate world was horrible and soul crushing.
Mm.
And why I say that it was the birthplace of my freedom is because I came to a point, it was not a pleasant point, but it was a point where I recognized that I had abdicated my freedom, that I had given away my say, as you say in friction management, that I had given away my total personhood. And it came to a point where I said, no. No more, no more. I am not going to be held in these shackles anymore. I am breaking free. I am going to create a world where I can break free and I'm going to run toward it. So, and so in both ways it was both my actual, my prisoner, my, what my prison that I was in, but it brought me to that awareness. I don't know if I would have come to that awareness if
Hmm.
I hadn't had to go through some things that were uncomfortable.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that because that's actually the positive side of friction. A lot of people think of friction as like arguments or conflict. Actually, it's what makes things feel heavier or a drag on us. And what I hear you saying was you started making new choices. So it was really in your power all along, like, the Wizard of Oz. You
Yeah.
always had the power. But
Yes.
but I'm not sure we're taught that power. And I'm not sure we always practice that power. So that's where Grateful Ohm comes into play. You
Right.
literally teach people how to, and then it has to be something practiced. Yeah.
Yes. And then you have to have a safe place to practice. When I was at, one of the things that I said after I learned some of these practices and started taking care of myself and making different choices, I said, you know what? If I would have known these practices while I was in the workplace, when I was in corporate, I could have stayed there. I could have been more impactful. I could have been more effective. I probably would have been more successful because I wouldn't have had that you call it the drag, right? That friction,
Right.
that drag on my existence. That drag was so much at that point that I didn't want to exist anymore. I had no choice but to save myself. So absolutely, yes. And I was alone. I didn't have anybody that I
Mm.
could say, oh, there was no place for me to go. I could have gone to therapy, but the therapists haven't, maybe even experienced what we're experiencing in the corporate workplace. So, so all of that to say what?
Well, I've heard you say what you want for heart connection, and that is that high powered women who have purpose driven lives, who want to make a difference, have a place to connect, get support. And you know what occurred to me while you were talking? Imagine if you could help one woman regain her power in corporate, the amount of money you could have saved yourself if you had remained.
Yes.
Oh, it could be $1 million.
Exactly.
But
Like
because
I said, and that's why I think it is so important that we as women, maybe, the heart connection is where I'm seeing that I want to create that safe space because we have so few safe spaces that are not that are not connected to the jailer. If you know what I'm saying?
Well, and you're not talking about networking.
No, 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 no.
You're talking about women, or and maybe men too, but people caring for the well-being of your soul
Right.
and
And
what it takes.
starting with you. And then when you have a community and you know the importance of community, even with friction management, that community is integral in kind of reducing that friction, that drag on your life. If you can identify those areas,
Yeah.
like whether it's a curb or whether if you can identify that, then you get a good idea of what you need to do to reduce that drag.
Well,
But yeah,
the other
go
thing
ahead.
I see, which is so crazy, if I go up to a woman and say, I want to propose something, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah,
They go, I mean, like we live under this, we need to be more disciplined. We need to be more motivated. We need to be more effective. We need to know, we need to. It is grinding us down. And it's about liberation, which is why this is so perfect because it's about when you see it.
yes,
You can take a breath of fresh air in that corporate world. If someone was coming up to you, Deborah, and saying, nothing's wrong with you,
yeah,
you need a place at the table, and you
yes.
need to say what you think, it would have been fresh air.
Oh, it would have been my next breath. I mean, critical, right? That's why I had to just do something drastic to
Mhm.
to move away from that because I was looking, and I wasn't finding it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what it would have been like if I was looking and I found the Heart Connection community and I was still able to stay and do what, essentially I loved and and to be more impactful and more effective and to be able to make changes that are more aligned with my moral values and my core values and to have the strength to do that
Yeah,
and
well,
sometimes
I
that
want to offer
community holds you
everybody
up.
a yeah, sorry. I want to offer everybody a gift because hey, it's 4th of July, I might as well. If you go to my website, which is sandyparkermartinez.com and click on book, you can read the first chapter of my book. And the book is Peace is More Expensive Than Lobster, a wake-up call with lipstick. Because nobody's really looking for friction. And what in chapter 7, what's so funny is I titled it Put Down the Wrench. Because as soon as we see something, we want to go fix it.
Oh yeah.
As soon as we see, oh, I need to do that, it's more needing to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What if just seeing it for what it is enough?
It is.
Having someone say, you know what, Deborah, you're perfect just like you are. There's nothing wrong with you. We don't hear that all day long.
We do.
Just saying.
There are days when we don't hear it, many days, years, months, whatever. Yeah. And that's what I love about the Heart Connection community because we can get that support, that we can get lifted up. We can hear those words. We can hear those words from each other. And one of the things, Sandy, that I'm going to offer your listeners, I know we didn't talk about this, and you
Go
can
for it.
I'll give you the link. So right now I'm building this community. And one of the great things about this community is that we're building it together and we are curating it together. So I have 50 free 1 year subscriptions with no, um, you don't need a credit card. It's no risk. All you give me is your email and your name and phone number, and then we are off to the races. After a year, you're automatically disconnected. There's no risk there. So
Please.
I am very very committed to letting women have a place where this, yeah, and one of the things that one of my friends, Lynn, says, I built this community because I needed this community.
Quick question. Have you noticed how easy it is to drift through this season of life? Not unhappy, just slightly checked out. Yeah, that. At Think Pink, we don't fix women. We help them come alive again. Honest conversation. Easy occasions for discovery. No duct taping a smile over burnout. No reinvent your entire life by Tuesday. Just people who care and gentle nudges that help you feel like yourself again. I mean, the truth is, you can't be your best self by yourself. If that sentence made something in you nod, we made a free Think Pink starter gift just for you. Come take a look. No fixing, just connection. Go to pinkladyposse.com and click on Think Pink. Stay awake to your own life and not alone.
I built this community because I needed this community. And I am exactly the same thing. I needed this community back then and I didn't have it. So I'm creating what I needed, right?
Well, and it takes one to know one, because if you've been in a circumstance, you can be the guide for others and others can be the guide for you. So it's about commonality, not comparison. Ugh.
Right. Right.
So you were talking about the other thing you see in freedom, and that is no one can control your attitude. No one can control your thoughts. And you were telling me about Nelson Mandela. Tell me about that.
Well, he was in prison for years and years and years. He was tortured. But still, he came out and he still was loving. And, people are like, how were you able to withstand this? And I'm getting the whole story, I'm not telling the whole story, just
Right.
that for the sake of time. And it was because he did not let them steal his freedom from inside, from his mind, from his body. So he thought about being by the ocean. He thought about all of these great things. He thought about things that he was grateful for. Even in a prison, in solitary confinement, he found things to be grateful for. So they didn't take away his freedom. They may have taken away his ability to move around, to walk around, to, what he's going to eat or anything like that. But he still stayed free inside. So then when he came out, he wasn't damaged. And we all have that power. And we know we've all been in situations where it could have been a contentious situation. It could have been a bad one, but we decided before we even got into that situation that it was not going to be contentious. It was going to be loving. I'm going to be loving. I'm going to stick to my values. And that's what happened.
Well, and we need to learn that from each other. One of the things, about having a say in how your life goes is that you have a responsibility to not give it away.
Yeah.
Like, I have one of the things we talked about also is in community, other people see something you don't see for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I'll say, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. And women will say, yeah, but, and I'll go, what, da 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 da. And they go, yeah, but, da 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 da. And I'm like, it's almost like we're fighting for our own limits.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Somebody needs to say, and I challenged someone the other day, I think every time I said, yeah, but, I'd listen real closely. Because what you're basically coming up with is an excuse for why you stay where you are.
Right.
Well, you don't understand this. And you know what? I don't. And I don't know what I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what I don't see.
Right.
And when you're in community with other people, you have access to thoughts that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Right.
So when I mentioned freedom, you thought it was a thing. Freedom is a way of being. Freedom is, it just is. I think of freedom as freedom from.
Right.
Right? Like if I'm a dog on a leash, I'm free from being on a leash. And one of the things that I see so many times is we're still, I don't like that leash idea. I'm going to change it. If we inherited a Victorian mansion from my grandmother, I do not have to keep a dusty old sofa.
Right.
But we have some dusty old beliefs.
Yes.
And we got them naturally from our parents, from our family, from our culture, from our, where we grew up. We inherited those beliefs.
Right.
And a lot of times we don't see them running. Like I'll give you one. This was a doozy. It's called the Good Woman Rule Book, right? It's like good women don't fill in the blanks. Good women don't rest. Good women don't want too much. Good women don't change their minds. Good women don't take up space. So
Good
when
women make themselves last. Good women say yes no matter what. Good women take on everybody else's, comfort and needs. Yeah, it's endless, you
and
know?
we don't even know how in our cell system that operates until we
Absolutely.
run into it. And then when
Right.
we run into it, we say, "Oh, I feel the drag," right? And it
Hmm.
becomes a signal, like a symbol, like, "Oh, listen to that." It's trying to tell you where you may or may not be in alignment with who you really are.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yep.
another one's being the responsible one.
Oh, yeah.
Now, thank God my husband has that. He's a boy. He's a grown-up Boy Scout. So if something has to be, he goes, "I'll do it." And I'm like, "You
Yeah.
go right ahead." I love that.
Yeah.
But perfection, we have this need to do everything to over. I heard you say you over delivered in the corporate setting for how
Oh,
many
yeah.
years?
Yeah.
A lot since you were 16.
Yes.
And did anyone ever say over delivery is a type of friction? I told my publisher the other day, she goes, "I'll have it to you. I'm going on a retreat, but I'll have it to you by Friday." I said, "Are you running into a little over delivery friction?"
Yeah.
"I'm not going to read it till Tuesday.
Yeah.
You got this over there all by yourself. I didn't push you. I didn't ask for it, but you're in an over delivery mode. Why not take a breath and do it over the
Yeah.
weekend and do it by Tuesday?"
Yeah. And then that's one of the things that I teach in my coaching, in my programs, in my community, create space. She was like trying to say, okay, I got to get it to you as soon as I can. Create the space to allow you to have the freedom to move when you're in your optimum. When I go on vacation, when I land in a place, I'll create space by giving a day to just land. Those kinds of things, and so that allows you and to be a mirror for other people. You are a mirror. You are in community with her by saying, I don't need this. I'm not going to even begin to look at that until Tuesday. So you created that space for her when she wasn't able to do it. So another part of community and what you're talking about is you're seeing friction for other people and alleviating, bringing that into their awareness and alleviating that if you have the ability to do that.
Well, what happens when you're in it, you can't see it for yourself. I'll give you an example. I love graphics, right? And I'm working in Canva. I take a break to go to dinner, and I said, "I got to get back to that document. I'm working on that document." My husband goes, "Do you have a little perfection friction going on?" I went, "Do I?" It is my 20th version. It, and the fifth one would have been fine. But when you're in the mode of it, you don't see it.
Yeah.
You're just in it and don't have access to, wait a minute, space. I love that. Let me give myself a little space so I can see what the heck I'm doing here. I've spent 2 hours on something that isn't even that important in the big scheme
Right.
of things.
Right. And it was so funny because one of my friends gave me a suggestion to change in my podcast. for it that's in the community. And so I was trying to decide whether I was going to go back and make that change in all of the past podcast that I did. And I was like, yeah, that's a good suggestion. Do I need to go back and redo this and blah blah? And one of the people that are in my community said, no, just move on from here. You're creating something that isn't even something. Just move on from here. It's a great idea. It's a great idea moving forward. So then, whew, I was able to breathe and go, okay, I don't have to make it more perfect because it wasn't perfect back here.
You know what? We really live like this.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds sort of theoretical. It isn't.
It is, and it's very real. And
You
that's
know,
why we need that's why we need our community, our pack, our posse, our, to hold that up for us, to be a mirror, to, let us see where we're running into that friction, where we're running into that, and to even say, I'm running into some friction here, I'm being pulled down by here, and have your community say, oh, let me see, what can I help? Or, it looks
you
like
mean
you're
ask for help? Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that ain't gonna happen.
Forsooth, we can't do that. But,
Now that's a stretch over there,
that's the
Deborah.
important thing, because help is a real thing.
Well, the other thing, I'm writing a book. So I just turned 70. I'm writing a book. I've created this friction framework, and I want to give it to every woman on the planet. I can't tell you how many people have said, why don't you just retire? I mean, you're 70. Isn't it like, aren't you kind of too late? I'm like, for what?
Yeah,
And I'm thinking the quality of my life is directly related to what I'm participating in that brings me joy and meaning.
exactly.
So, okay, I may not be the most well read author in the world, but I'll tell you what, this little book coming has some potent power.
Well, I'm
And
looking forward to it.
and it leaves people without fixing anything.
See, that's super important.
It's important, but
When
it's
you read a book and
frustrating.
feel, yeah, when you feel like you have an assignment, it's like,
Oh,
oh, you're piling on more things onto this already full basket. I've got 17 balls in the air, and now you want me to put 20 in there, It's like, ah.
yeah,
But yeah,
this isn't five steps to anything.
okay.
This isn't even any steps. In my book on the back, it says this isn't self-help. This is
Okay.
a shift away from do more, have more, da, 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 da. And when I notice that we are really, we've spent decades believing I'm
Yeah.
lazy, I'm falling, I'm failing, I'm behind, I'm too sensitive, I'm too loud, I'm not an. I say pick your list and take one thing you're going to be free from.
Mm.
One thing you're going to declare your independence from or to. Now, I'm declaring my independence from, and I told you before that I'm going to challenge us to have one. And then we can hold each other accountable and support each other. So I'll go first.
Okay.
I, I'm starting something new. And when you go to present something new, you go, well, everybody out there is so developed. Mine's just a little baby book. I'm la 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 la. I'm declaring my independence from underestimating my value. I'm declaring my independence from underestimating my value. And when I go to say, what should I charge? What I'm just going to say, Siska, you declared your independence from underestimating
Uh-huh.
your value. So that's mine. What's yours?
Mine is okay. So I am going to be Wonder Woman, and I am going to use these bracelets to shield myself from limiting beliefs. There are so many, like you were telling me, people were saying, oh, you're 70, you need to, you know, to just retire and babysit for your grandbabies or whatever. I am going to go bing, 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 and just do what I love and do what my heart says that I want to do. So let go of those limiting beliefs that says that you can't do this because you're older. Let go of those limiting beliefs that you can't do this because you're a minority or whatever. Do whatever it is to like use these cuffs, these Wonder Woman cuffs, to just deflect all of those limiting beliefs. So that is how I am going to expand my freedom in this time.
Well, I think we're lucky to have each other. We're lucky to
Yes.
be surrounded by the kind of women who understand our value, who
Right.
understand our commitment, and who will stretch us and challenge us when we don't see something for ourselves. So
Yes.
we're in the show notes. We're going to have access to Deborah's community, Heart Connection, where you can join up to the next 50. I'd love for everybody for it to be full after this. And
Yes.
then you can go to sandyparkermartinez.com and look up the book and get the free chapter. And then we're going to stay connected because it's super important that we declare our independence.
Yay! I don't have a red, white, and blue one, but I'm declaring and celebrating. Oh,
No,
I
but you have a
another one.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Yay!
So, in all seriousness, you guys, this episode is for you. Take it, hear it, listen to it, connect, alter an elevation of freedom and liberation this 4th of July, and then go celebrate it. Thank you, Deborah, for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Always, always, always to be in the room with Sandy. I love it. Oh, and don't forget that you're going to be holding an event at the Heart Connection too. So you want to sign up for the Heart Connection for that event as well. And we're talking more about our freedoms and freedom from friction management. So I am looking forward to that workshop, and supporting each other is just amazing. And you're so beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And join the Heart community, and I will see you there.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in to Pink Lady Posse Podcast, where women go from what now to what's next. Come join us at pinkladyposse.com, where we share community, resources, and tools to support your next beautiful chapter. With love, light, and a little lipstick. See you next time.